August 2025 turned out to be a surprisingly packed month for game releases, whether you were chasing indie gems, remakes, or major AAA sequels. Today, we're diving into September releases and which ones you absolutely shouldn't sleep on. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is an upcoming kart racing game by Sonic Team and Sega, set to release on September 25th, 2025, for Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series XS, with a Switch 2 version to follow. A spin-off in the Sonic the Hedgehog series, it builds on past Sonic racing titles and introduces the new cross-world mechanic, letting racers switch to different tracks mid-race. Developed with input from the initial D Games team, it will feature guest characters from other franchises through post-launch DLC. Gameplay follows traditional 3-lap kart racing with drifting, power-ups, and speed boosts, but drops Team Sonic Racing's cooperative mechanics in favor of solo competition. At number 6, we have Baby Steps. You play as Nate, a 35-year-old unemployed fail son stuck in a mundane life, until one day he gains the extraordinary ability to walk one clumsy step at a time. It's a literal walking simulator that blends comedy, philosophy, and satire. The core experience is entirely physics-based. You control Nate's legs individually using triggers or analog inputs, resulting in hilariously awkward locomotion. Expect frequent slips, falls, and the odd stumble. Despite the frustrating controls, the game leans into a meditative and humorous vibe. The animation emphasizes physical comedy. Onesie soiling, oversized butt, and improvisational dialogue add charm. Created by the minds behind Quap, Getting Over It, and Ape Out, Baby Steps ditches malicious frustration in favor of contemplative exploration. You decide the challenge. There's no artificial difficulty. The game is scheduled to launch on September 8th, 2025, for both PC, Steam, and PlayStation 5. A demo was also made available earlier in June.
Oh, can you not?
At number 5, we have Hell Is Us. Hell Is Us is an upcoming third-person action-adventure game by Rogue Factor and published by Nacon, releasing September 4th, 2025 for PS5, Windows, and Xbox Series XS. You play as Remy, a former UN peacekeeper who goes AWOL to search for his parents in Hadia, a war-torn nation plagued by supernatural creatures called Hollow-Walkers after a mysterious event known as the Calamity. Combat focuses on melee weapons, swords, axes, polearms, with unique styles and a drone for tactical support. Health and stamina are linked. Lower health reduces stamina capacity, making fatigue dangerous. The game features a semi-open world without waypoints or quest logs, relying on environmental clues and NPC conversations for navigation. Inspired by Annihilation and the Southern Reach trilogy, it uses a minimal HUD for immersion. Directed by Jonathan Jacques Bellatet, its combat blends hack-and-slash dynamics with deliberate pacing. Originally announced in 2022 and delayed from an earlier target, Hell Is Us aims to deliver an exploration-driven, story-rich experience with organic discovery and tense melee encounters. Cronos The New Dawn is an upcoming survival horror title developed and published by Bloober Team, set for release on September 5th, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 2. The game is played from a third-person perspective and centers on the Traveler, an elite operative working for a mysterious organization known only as the Collective. The Traveler's mission is twofold: survive in a dangerous futuristic wasteland and journey back through time to Poland in the 1980s. There, they must locate and extract individuals who perished during a cataclysmic event called the Change, a disaster that warped humanity into grotesque monsters. Combat emphasizes both close-quarters melee fighting and the use of varied firearms such as pistols and shotguns. A unique threat system forces players to think strategically. If fallen enemies are not burned after defeat, their corpses can be reanimated through fusion with surviving foes, creating tougher, deadlier versions of the same enemy. This mechanic heightens tension, making each battle a decision between conserving resources and ensuring enemies stay down for good. Thematically and mechanically, Cronos The New Dawn takes cues from Dead Space and Alan Wake, incorporating atmospheric tension and methodical combat. According to co-director Jack Ekjimba, the gameplay tone leans more Resident Evil and less Silent Hill, favoring action horror pacing without sacrificing suspense. The mix of sci-fi time travel, post-apocalyptic survival, and retro 1980s horror atmosphere positions the game as one of the most intriguing genre blends of 2025. At number 3, we have Borderlands 4. Borderlands 4 is the next major installment in Gearbox Software's long-running action role-playing first-person looter-shooter series, published by 2K. Serving as the direct sequel to Borderlands 3 and the fifth mainline entry in the franchise, it is set to launch on September 12, 2025, for PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series XS, with a Nintendo Switch 2 version arriving shortly after on October 3, 2025. Like its predecessors, Borderlands 4 combines the frantic gunplay and wild weapon variety the series is known for with RPG-style progression, diverse character builds, and cooperative multiplayer for up to 4 players. However, it marks a significant leap forward in scope and design. Gearbox has revealed that the game will feature a seamless open world, meaning no loading screens when transitioning between areas, allowing exploration to feel fluid and uninterrupted. The game will also introduce new vehicles and expanded traversal mechanics, including a grappling hook that adds verticality and creativity to movement and combat. The developers describe this as the largest and most open-ended Borderlands experience yet, promising a blend of chaotic firefights, outrageous humor, and freedom of exploration. By combining its trademark over-the-top weapons, distinctive cel-shaded art style, and irreverent tone with new traversal systems and a truly seamless open world, Borderlands 4 aims to deliver the most ambitious and immersive entry in the series to date. At number 2, Silent Hill F. Silent Hill F is an upcoming survival horror game developed by Neobards Entertainment and published by Konami Digital Entertainment, releasing in September 2025 for PS5, Windows, and Xbox Series X/S. It is the 8th mainline entry in the series, and the first set outside the US, taking place in the 1960s in the fictional Japanese town of Ebisugoka. Players control Hinako Shimizu, a high school student navigating a fog-covered town, solving puzzles, and facing grotesque monsters in close-quarters combat. The game marks a deliberate return to Japanese horror roots after Konami felt the series had become overly westernized. Written by Ryukishi07 and featuring music by Akira Yamaoka, it embraces the concept of finding terror in beauty, blending delicate visuals with unsettling horror. Artist Kara designed monsters to psychologically disturb players, moving away from the series' traditional rusted, blood-smeared aesthetic. The town of Ebisugoka was modeled after Kanayama, Garo, in Gifu Prefecture, recreated to reflect its 1960s atmosphere. Though a standalone story, the game contains references to past Silent Hill titles. Hinako was designed as a more active protagonist who makes her own choices, breaking from the series' pattern of passive female characters. Gameplay avoids ranged weapons entirely, focusing on tactile, strategic close combat, resource management, and exploration without losing the franchise's signature psychological horror. At an August 2025 media event in Tokyo, journalists played about 5 hours of the game. Developer Insights revealed a goal to balance traditional series tension with fresh mechanics, merging grotesque horror and natural beauty. Early impressions from outlets like IGN and Polygon praised its atmosphere, resource scarcity, and emotional depth, with IGN calling it a horror game that gets everything right. Dying Light: The Beast is an upcoming survival horror game from Techland, releasing September 19, 2025, for Windows, PS5, and Xbox Series X/S, with PS4 and Xbox One versions arriving later in the year. Originally planned as DLC for Dying Light 2: Stay Human, it was expanded into a standalone title after a 2023 story leak. The game sees the return of Kyle Crane, protagonist of the first Dying Light, who escapes 13 years of captivity to seek revenge on a villain known as the Baron. Set in Castor Woods, a rural, forested valley overrun by zombies, players explore via parkour and a 4x4 vehicle. Zombies are slow in sunlight, but deadly at night. Combat combines melee weapons, firearms, and Crane's superhuman abilities, including Beast Mode for devastating bare-handed attacks and environmental throws. Weapons and vehicles degrade over time, forcing adaptive play. The story is more linear than Dying Light 2, focusing on survival tensions similar to the original game. Castor Woods' Twin Peaks-inspired design offers fewer parkour opportunities than urban settings, but still requires agility to navigate key locations. The game supports 4-player co-op and features returning voice actor Roger Craig Smith as an older, more vengeful Crane. Techland describes the Beast as a shorter, more compact experience than previous entries, with a heavier emphasis on fear and resource scarcity. Players who bought the Ultimate Edition of Dying Light 2 will receive the game for free.